A cozy evening in Grandma's house, a warm and cozy living room in a suburban home. The quiet hum of crickets filled the night air outside as streetlights flickered in the distance. Inside the house, warmth and nostalgia filled the air. Liam rocked slightly, anticipation bubbling inside him. He had overheard his cousin say something earlier that had sparked an insatiable curiosity in his heart. Liam, Grandma, is it true that you have a magical secret? Grandma Eleanor chuckled, her hands knitting effortlessly. She looked at Liam with a twinkle in her wise eyes. Grandma, oh Liam, you and your endless questions. But if you truly wish to know, you must listen carefully. Liam leaned forward, gripping his pajama sleeves. He had heard many bedtime stories from Grandma before, but this time it felt different. The mysterious wooden chest. Grandma leaned forward, pushing aside an old cushion, revealing a beautifully carved wooden chest. The markings on it were so faded that they almost blended into the wood. Liam? Whoa, where did you get that, Grandma? This has been in our family for generations. Inside it lies something very precious. With careful hands, she lifted the lid. Inside were three objects: an old, leather-bound book with golden edges, a tiny glass bottle filled with shimmering golden dust, a small, ornate silver key pointing at the key. What's the key for? Grandma, mysteriously. Ah, that's something you'll discover in time. The ancient book and the story of Oliver. Grandma gently lifted the book and blew a thin layer of dust off its cover before turning to the first page. A beautifully illustrated drawing of a young boy with tousled brown hair wearing a traveler's cloak, standing at the edge of a vast landscape, appeared before Liam's eyes. Grandma, this is the story of Oliver, a boy who wanted success, respect, and wealth, but he wanted it too quickly. Liam tilted his head, fascinated. Liam, what happened to him? Grandma, one day Oliver heard of a legendary cave hidden deep in the mountains, a place that granted one wish to those who entered. Without thinking, Oliver set off, believing he had found the shortcut to everything he ever wanted. Oliver's journey begins. Oliver was clever, but he was impatient, that he wanted wealth and power, and he didn't want to wait years working for it. So, he packed a small bag and set out on his long journey to find the Cave of Wishes. The Dark Forest. The journey wasn't easy. He had to pass through the Whispering Woods, a dark forest where shadows seemed to move on their own. As he stepped carefully over the roots, he met an old man sitting by a river, stirring the water with a wooden stick. Old man, where are you headed, young traveler? Oliver, to the Cave of Wishes. I will be the richest and most powerful man in the world. The old man chuckled. Old man, be careful, boy. The cave does not grant wishes the way you expect. But Oliver barely listened. He was too excited. The mysterious cave entrance, a glowing cave entrance hidden deep within the mountains. Strange symbols are carved into the stone, mist swirling around its entrance. After days of travel, Oliver finally stood before the cave. Its entrance shimmered. Oliver's wish comes true. As soon as Oliver made his wish, the cave trembled. A blinding golden light surrounded him. He squeezed his eyes shut. When he opened them, he was no longer inside the cave. Instead, he stood in the middle of a grand palace, decorated with golden statues, silk curtains, and shimmering chandeliers. His clothes had changed. He now wore royal robes made of the finest silk and a golden crown on his head. Oliver. It worked! I'm rich! He ran to the massive palace windows and looked down. A huge kingdom stretched before him. It was all his. Oliver laughed in delight. Oliver. I have everything I ever wanted. But he didn't realize not all wishes bring happiness. The loneliness of wealth days passed. Weeks passed. Oliver had everything: gold, servants, a luxurious bed, the best food in the world. But something felt wrong. At night he sat at his long dining table, filled with the most delicious food, but he ate alone. He explored his vast gardens, but no one walked beside him. He sat in his grand halls filled with gold, but there was no laughter, no friends, no family. One night, as he sat in silence, he whispered to himself, Oliver, what good is all this treasure if I have no one to share it with? For the first time since he made his wish, his heart felt heavy, a regretful return. Oliver couldn't stand the loneliness anymore. He rushed back to the mountains, searching for the cave. His royal clothes were dirty, his golden crown had fallen somewhere along the way, but he didn't care. Finally, he reached the Cave of Wishes and begged the unseen force inside. Oliver, please, I don't want all this gold anymore. Take it back. I just want my old life. But the cave whispered back. Cave's voice, a wish once granted cannot be undone. You must find your own way back to happiness. Oliver fell to his knees, realizing his mistake. He had chosen gold over love, and now he was trapped in his own wish. The true treasure. Oliver took a deep breath. If he couldn't undo his wish, maybe he could change his fate. Instead of returning to his palace, he walked into a small village. There he saw poor families, children with no shoes and hungry faces. Oliver took off his royal cloak, opened his bag of gold, and began sharing his wealth. He gave money to the farmers. He built houses for those with no shelter. He bought food for the hungry, and something magical happened. For the first time in months, Oliver heard laughter again. The villagers hugged him, thanking him for his kindness. And as he sat with them, eating a simple meal, his heart felt full again, more than it ever had in his golden palace. Oliver had finally found the true treasure: kindness, generosity, and love. Liam's realization. Liam blinked. The story had captivated him completely. For a moment, he imagined himself in Oliver's place. How exciting it would be to have all the gold in the world. But then, he thought about how sad and empty Oliver felt when he had no one to share it with. He looked at his grandma, her kind smile, her warm presence, and suddenly he understood. Liam. So, the magical secret isn't gold or power, but kindness and patience? Grandma nodded, her eyes filled with wisdom. Exactly, my dear. People who chase quick success often lose their way, but those who walk patiently, with a kind heart, find true happiness. Liam hugged his grandmother tightly. That was the best story ever. A night under the stars. Liam lying on a blanket outside, staring up at the twinkling stars. His grandmother sits beside him, pointing at constellations. The sky is deep blue with countless stars shimmering. That night, Liam and Grandma Eleanor lay on a blanket outside, staring at the stars. The sky stretched endlessly above them, filled with tiny lights, some bright, some dim, but each one shining in its own way. Liam, I guess even the smallest stars still shine, right, Grandma? Yes, my dear, and even the smallest act of kindness can light up someone's world. As Liam closed his eyes, feeling the night breeze on his face, he realized the real magic had been with him all along. Moral of the story: true happiness is not found in riches or power, but in kindness, patience, and a grateful heart.